Hi, I'm Marci Baker of Alicia's Attic, here to share with you the clear view of quilting. Today I'm going to answer questions about foundation paper piecing. It's where you have a design drawn on a foundation, usually paper, and we're going to be adding fabric in numerical order, sewing on the line, and we end up with our design on the back side. The boats and the flowers behind me have been done this way. I've had students ask, how do you know that the fabric is going to cover the shape? Because that's one of the most frustrating parts. The technique I use is on my Know Before You Sew reference series. The method I teach guarantees placement of your fabric, and you don't have to waste fabric. The waste and the unknown are two reasons why people don't like foundation paper piecing. This method is very easy and fun to do. I'm going to share with you how to set your machine up as far as stitch length, how to pre-fold your foundation to make it easier for tearing later, and how to measure your shapes and pre-cut strips so it's faster at the sewing machine. So let's look at these steps. Here is the pattern that I recommend to use to learn this technique. If you can do this simple block, which has a problem point designed into it, then you can do any foundation paper piecing design. You can download this for free at aliciasattic.com and then print them off. But here's some things to know before you sew. We're going to be sewing in numerical order, 1, 2, 3. And also we want to sew with small stitches if we're working with a foundation that we will tear away later. So set your machine at 1.5 or 15 stitches per inch, whichever works for your machine. Also, we can pre-fold along the lines using some type of card. You may have a favorite Christmas card you can now find a use for, and just put it against the line and then fold the paper up against that card. It's a nice weight of card to work with. So just fold on all of the lines between the shapes. You don't have to fold on the outside edge here. And note that some designs may not have this 1/4 inch out here. You'll need to make sure you allow for that as we go along. You want to measure and cut strips if you have a multiple blocks that we're doing, as we are for this project, of shape 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and measure, and I'll show that in a minute, so that we have strips pre-cut to the shape. Here we have a close-up of our shape 1 that we're going to be sewing, and I need to measure and find out how wide to cut my strips. I find strips are easier to work with. And I'm going to add a 1/4 inch on this side and a 1/4 inch on that side. Most other methods require that you add an ample 1/4 inch, if not a 1/2 inch. But we're going to know before we sew that it's going to fit. So here's how I measure for this shape. I'm going to start at one edge, and I'm going to measure across to the widest point, adding 1/4 inch on both sides, and I get 2.5 inch. Now I can measure from two other edges for shape 1. I can measure from this edge also. And if I turn the ruler upside down, you can see the measurement as I take it. 1/4 inch beyond the line, and then how wide to where I cover my seam allowance out here. And 2 1/4 will get me that, if not 2 3/8. One other option is to measure from this bottom line all the way up to the top, and that's going to be a 4 1/4 inch wide strip. You may wonder, why would we need that? However, if our strip is only 4 1/4 inch wide, because that's the kind of fabric we had available to us, then we can get these pieces out of that strip, but we couldn't get 2 2.5 inch wide strips. So this would be the better measurement. By measuring our shapes and pre-cutting strips, we're going to be able to sew faster at the sewing machine when we're foundation paper piecing. If you'd like to know more details about the method I teach, visit aliciasattic.com, where we have another video available with more detail showing you how you know before you sew that the fabric's going to cover and you don't have to waste fabric. I'm Marci Baker of Alicia's Attic, sharing with you the clear view of quilting. Thanks for joining us.